Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. and I make videos all about the journey of starting a candle business. In today's video, I wanted to talk about wet spots. Now, wet spots are something that can be more of an annoyance than a problem when it comes to making and selling candles. But I know that for all of you perfectionists out there, it can drive you crazy. Now, I had the luxury of not having to worry about it for the longest time until we recently brought out our clear candles. So now we have two different kinds of clear vessels that we sell through both retail and wholesale. And I wanted to reiterate this topic because I know, again, that it can be a little frustrating, but I hope that this video will ease your mind a little bit. So first and foremost, what are wet spots? Wet spots are basically just what happens to the wax when it starts to pull away from the sides of the jar. So naturally, when you are pouring hot liquid into the jar, when wax is really, really hot, it expands. And then when it cools, it starts to contract down. And sometimes when it starts to cool too fast or unevenly, it will start to pull away from different sides of the jar. And all wet spots look different on all different vessels because of this reason. And of course, sometimes there are, or a lot of times, there can be vessels out there that don't have any wet spots to them. And I just want to make this known right now that you didn't do anything wrong. If you have wet spots on your candle jars, I don't want you stressing out trying to figure out ways that you can make that not happen. Because even though there are ways that you can minimize this, I know that people will, either heat up their jars before pouring or pour their jars into boxes to kind of keep that heat in. So essentially, when you are trying to slow down that cooling process and not have rapid cooling down, that can help minimize the appearance of wet spots on your candles. However, I believe it's not possible to control this long term, meaning that as soon as you package everything up in the package and you ship it off to the customer, you have no idea what kind of temperature changes are going through with that candle. You could heat up your jars, pour at a certain temperature, cool down, slow down the cooling down process, and still your customer may end up with some wet spots in their candle when they actually open the package. And of course, this is just the science of candle making. It's just how it is. I promise you, wet spots do not affect your candle at all. The only time that wet spots have been an issue is I had a customer one time let me know that the entire candle, it was so cold that all of the sides pulled away from the jar and it actually fell out of the candle. But that is few and far between. Most of the time, the little wet spots that you see on the sides of the candle are not going to pose any dramatic change in your candle. So I want you to know that moving forward, that yes, sometimes there can be imperfections that you are selling with what looks like on your candle. There can be imperfections on your candle, but it doesn't mean that you have to either throw that candle away or not sell it because you're worried that you're going to get complaints. I promise you, I've never received a single complaint on wet spots on the sides of the candle jar. 99% of regular people that purchase candles do not even look at that. That's not even something that they noticed. I know that I never noticed that when I was just buying candles from Bath and Body Works, and I just cared about the way that it smelled. I literally did not care about any of that. And if I noticed it, I probably just thought to myself like, oh, that's kind of a cool design on there. It wasn't something that I actually thought to myself like, oh, that's ugly. There's something wrong with this candle. I'm not going to burn it. That's not at all what I ever thought. In fact, you could walk into any store that carries candles and I bet you'd be able to find candles that have wet spots on them and frosting and wonky, uneven wicks and things that you're looking at. You're like, how is this a candle that's being sold by the thousands every day all across the country? And it just is what it is. Most people are not looking at those little imperfections with the candle. And a lot of that is just the basic nature and science of candle making. So all in all, I completely understand not liking wet spots. I don't really like them either, to be completely honest, but I'm not going to stress over it because it's not worth it. It's not something to stress over. You can stress over, the wick sizes of your candles all you want, but don't stress over the things that you can't control. You can control the different wick sizes you use. You can't always control on whether or not your candles are going to have wet spots. But I really hope I gave some of you some peace of mind. Don't stress about it. It is what it is. It's all good. But with that, I am going to end today's video right here. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Memory Box Candle Co. And I will see you in my next video.